Good day, Market Chameleons, and everyone joining us for the first time. Thanks for coming by and checking out the Market Chameleon pre-market show. Before we get started, let's take a look at the shared disclaimer. Be aware that neither Market Chameleon, Dimitri, or myself are registered investment advisors or a broker-dealer. If you're searching for investment advice, please reach out to a licensed professional. This webinar, as all our webinars and shows, are for informational purposes only concerning Market Chameleon tools and products. With that, one last look at the disclaimer. And let's welcome Dimitri Pargamonic to the stage. How you doing, Dima?
Good morning, Will. How are you?
Great. Today we're going to talk about pre-market stock gainers, analyzing big movers with volume and historical insights. Correct?
Yep. And good morning, everyone. We're going to come back to our pre-market report we haven't visited in a while. So we'll just review it and cover some of the features there that could help you analyze some pre-market movers. So let's move to that report. If you go to the top menu under stocks, the pre-market trading report, we click on that, takes us to a report that shows us the pre-market trading activity. And we do have different analytics here, but today's activity is broken down into the most active stocks in the pre-market, the largest percent gainers and largest percent decliners. And this is just to quickly come to a page where we could get a idea or picture of what's going on. What's going on in pre-market hours, what's trading a lot, what is moving a lot, and this gives us a chance to narrow things down. And this is on a stock level already. If we wanted to look at it from a higher level, this report up here lets us know how many stocks are up versus down, the total volume that's up versus total volume that's down, and the dollar value. But when we move down here and we see the individual stocks, we might want to go in there and dig a little bit deeper just to get an idea, because we have so many different stocks here. And if we wanted to get some more insights into this particular stock and kind of its historical moves, what we could do is click on that symbol. So here, let's take the top one, INKT. We see it's trading at $22.94. That's up $15, which is 196% on 6 million shares. It's a small market cap, and it looks like it had some news on it. So this little alert within the N stands for news. So if you hover over it, you will see a pop-up with some headlines. I clicked on this INKT, and what it does is populate a report that is specific to INKT. And in this report, what it defaults to is a pre-market graph. So we could see here, starting at 6 a.m., going up to right now, this is what was going on at around 7:30. It looked like all of a sudden it saw a big spike up in price and volume. There's a big volume bar over here, and this is how it's been trading in the pre-market so far. And I think if we scroll down, we could see that it did have some news on it. It looks like it's a biotech stock. If you click on it, you could go read that news, and obviously you should read that news and have that as part of your overall research. For today's purposes, we're going to go and look at some historical stock activity just to get a comparison of today's moves to its historical moves at the open. So I'm going to come over here to this tab under next to VWAP. We have this gap up history. We'll click on that, and what this does is gives us a historical perspective of this particular stock, and it's going to go back in time, I think a couple of years, to take out the biggest 12 up moves at the open, because this is already in a pre-market. So if we assume if it stays here, and opens at 22.10, that's up 185%. Very large move at the open. So did that ever happen in this stock? Is this highly unusual? Did it experience that before? So let's get that history and make a comparison. I'm going to slide down this table here, and you can see these are the historical dates um, where we detected the largest moves, and these are the opening gap moves. So we had a 10% move up, 11%. Here's an 873% move up. So at least comparing it to that, it looks like you know historically we've seen even larger moves than today. And we had a 27% move, so not quite as large, but at least one big move to the upside that is even much larger than today's move. And then what this table does is also lets us look at what did the stock tend to do on these big upside moves. Did it build on top of them? So now we have this opening gap. All right. Let's say we do open up 185%. Does that historically tend to be a somewhere where there's profit taken and the stock sells down, or historically does it open and continue to build on that move going forward? Was that initial optimism followed through? So let's take a look at that, and we could see here when we do the opening gap, right, we have some more statistics. What does the stock do from the open? Okay, so this is the drift from the open to the close, right? From the open to the close. And we have a stat here. So 75% of the time, the stock drifted lower from that initial opening price to the close, right? Not from the close to close, but we're looking at the new price at the open. What did it do from there? And 75% of the time, it drifted lower from that opening print for an average loss of 5.6%. So there were not every time you see like here's some up moves, but 75%, it looks like there was profit taken from that point, and it moved lower. And that's why we see on the day, if we look at it, opening gap averaged 84.5%, but by the end of the day, the gain from close to close was 52%. And there 17% of the time, it actually ended up being lower on the day from the previous. So you could see here a gap of 9.6%, but by the end of the day, the stock was down 3.6% from the previous day, and it happened here. Okay, so there are 2 days that it wasn't even able to hold on to gains. After opening gap up, it was down on the day. Okay, not just from the open, but from the previous day's close. Something to be aware of. What about afterwards? So yeah, the first day there could be some profit taking. We get a big gap up. There could be some profit taking, and it drops. But what about going afterwards? Like, does it tend then to build up the following day and so forth? How does that look? So this lets us look at the following days. So one day, so this is at the end of the day to the next day, 67% of the time the stock was up for an average gain of 3.9%. 2 days, is down, more often than not, 67% of the time, 50-50, 2 weeks. So it looks like maybe the next day was still a little bit up, more often bullish, optimistic. Um, but that it looks to me like, it's kind of like 50-50 going forward. All right. And this is very news driven, right? So we had a big move, but we do see a press release with news. So that's important because today's news could be completely different, and you need to consider that. What did they say? Is it much different than before? But you have both those things now to research and apply to your trading. Uh, Another thing here is volatility of the stock. Well, how much does the stock move around after such a big liquidity event? So we could see here that the next day, the follow through, because already this event, um, the opening gap happened. How does the stock move forward? So you could see just from the volatility perspective, if we took absolute average moves, the stock moves uh, on average up or down 6.5%, with a range as big as 19.8%, as low as 1%. So you can see here, there's one time the next day moved up 19.8%. Uh, the but as low as 1% as well. Okay. Average 6.5%, 2-day move 6.7. But it looks like if we go out 2 weeks, the average move was 2.24%, with a much wider range, as much as 101% to as low as 1%. So, looking at this, it's a very risky stock. It is a low cap, and just looking at that historical perspective, you could get a lot of volatility. Certainly it's sat around, like over here, like sat. There it didn't show on April 15th a lot of follow through in volatility, but if you look at the historical, you could see, look, 100% move here, you know, um, and something to be aware of, that the stock tends to move a lot, right? Tends to have a lot of volatility even after such an event. Um, so I think, well, that's all I wanted to cover today, was just show how to get from this report, and to dig a little bit deeper with staying on this report, right? So we're kind of getting this insight, staying on this report. We could close it and move on to the next stock, but just to get some quick answers to some questions about, well, how does this move compared to historical moves?
Yeah, those are some great tools, Steve. Thanks for bringing that to the Chameleon community. Thanks for doing this every day for us, Steve, and everyone, thanks for joining.
Right. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe out there. I hope you have a great trading day, and hope to see you guys Monday.
All right. Have a great weekend, D. Have a good day today trading, and we will see you later. Bye-bye. Everyone, thanks for joining the Market Chameleon show. Everyone have a safe trading day out there, and have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye. Remember, actually, thumbs up, like Mike, Jim, since you all did. Everyone, thumbs up on YouTube. Always appreciated on all those social platforms. Remember to follow us, like us. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.